Okay, I apologize. I don't really have any guided notes for this one, but this is a very quick review. We did this earlier in the year. We talked about how to write equations of lines, and we really said there were 3 different forms that we could write an equation of a line in. One was slope-intercept, one was point-slope, and one was standard. And for us, really the first 2 are going to be the ones that we probably are going to use most often. And then ax plus by equals c. We're going to focus in this, really for this and for if you go to if you go to calculus, you're going to find that these 2 tend to be the ones that you use the most. So let's just see how these work. All right, so for our first example, let's find the equation of the line that has a slope of -8/3 and a y-intercept of 3. Okay, and now here's the thing. I don't care what form of the equation that you use. All right, so as long as you can give me one of these 3 forms, we're good. So let's talk about what would be the easiest one to use here. Well, we're given slope and we're given y-intercept right off the bat. So this first equation, which uses slope and y-intercept to write it, is probably going to be the equation we want to go to, because m represents our slope, which is -8/3, and b represents our y-intercept, which we know is 3. So really it's just a matter of substituting those numbers in. So we have y equals our slope of -8/3 times x, and then plus our y-intercept of 3. That's it. That's the equation. That's all I need you to be able to do. All right, let's try one where we're given something slightly different. So let's say for this example, we are given a slope of -1/3, and it goes through the point -4, 3. Now this time that -4, 3 is not a y-intercept, so I probably wouldn't want to use my slope-intercept form of the equation. But hey, this other one that I highlighted, the point-slope form of the equation, if you remember, is quite nice because m represents our slope again. But this x1, y1 is just a point on your line. So we have that here. x1, y1. And we know our slope is -1/3. So let me color code these here for us. Okay, we've got then x1 goes here, and y1 will go here. And once we can plug those 3 things in, we've got our equation, and that's all I need you to be able to do. So it would look like this: y minus y1, which we know is 3, equals m, which is -1/3, times x minus x1, which is -4. So we actually see that end up minus -4 is actually +4. That's your equation. And again, that's all you need to be able to do. I don't need you to rewrite it. I don't need it to be in standard form, just in any form. Okay, one more example. So this last one, let's say I give you 2 points this time. So points like maybe 1, -3, and -3, -2. Well, none of our equations really worked nicely for this where it's just a single substitution, but I'm still going to go back to this point-slope form. Okay, so in order to use point-slope form, I've got to know what the slope is. So let's go ahead and find that. And that goes back to the first video you watched. Pause the video, find your slope, and come back and make sure you're right. So you should get -1/4. So that's going to be our slope. Okay, so -1/4 is our slope. That's going to go here where m is. And then as far as x1, y1 goes, guys, you can choose either point to be your x1, y1. So I could choose this first point to be my x1, y1, or I could choose the second point to be my x1, y1. Doesn't matter. Either one will work. I'm going to go ahead and choose the first one. So I'm going to choose x1 to be my 1, and then we'll choose y1 to be -3. And then again, just substitute it all in. So we're going to put y1 here, and we'll put x1 here, and that'll give us our equation. So what I've got is y1 minus -3, which actually ends up then being +3, equals my slope, which I found over here, is -1/4, times x minus x1, which we said is just 1. That's our equation. That's all you got to do. All right, I'm going to give you a couple examples to try if you want to, and then pause the video, go back and try them. So if you want to try these 2 examples, go ahead, try them, and then come back and check your answers when you're done. All right, there you go. For example 4, should be pretty straightforward. Just plug right into the formula since you're given a slope and a point. For example 5, you've got to find the slope first, which becomes 1/3. And then you could have had either of the equations written that I have circled, depending on which point you chose for x1, y1. So if you chose -2, 5 for x1, y1, you would have gotten the first equation I have circled. And if you would have chosen -5, 4 for your x1, y1, you would have gotten the second equation. You might be wondering, hey, those are different equations for the same line. However, if you were to simplify both of those and put both of those equations into slope-intercept form, it would be the same equation. All right, great job. Go ahead and check out your check-in for the day for this, and I'll see you in the classroom.